name is Jermaine Miller Summer, and I am the host for HOV Connect podcast. I am excited today because I have a special guest in studio with me, Theresa Merritt-Watson. She is my newest author for HOV Publishing, and she has written this book called Black Tech. Well, I'm not going to go really into details because that's what the reason for the podcast is, for us to really be able to talk about and get insight from her, the author, on her vision, her mission, and her motivation behind this book, Black Tech. Let me bring Theresa into the conversation. Hello, Miss Theresa Watson. How are you today?
I am doing well. How are you doing, Jermaine? How are you
I am
doing?
so good. I'm excited about this interview. Well, you know what? I like to call it a conversation because that's exactly what we're going to do. As women, we're going to sit here and talk.
I like that. I like that. Yeah.
So I wanted to, first of all, I want to thank you because I'm going to give the audience just a little backdrop. You were introduced to me by another one of my authors, who actually just went #1 on the Amazon bestseller list, and he's shooting for the New York Times bestseller list. But I'm so grateful to him, Angelo Ellerby. I'm so grateful to him because he introduced me to you.
Thank you. I am grateful to him too.
Well, you have a book called Black Tech. And right now, I know we set it up. We're running a pre-sale campaign right now, but it will be made available for a global release on November 12th.
Mm-hmm.
But I really want to get into this because I personally thought it was genius how you decided to package this book. So let's start with Black Tech. And Black Tech is leaders in technology, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So,
Mm-hmm.
Theresa, what is the inspiration behind this book?
Well, one of the inspiration for me was to make sure that African American kids, students, children altogether know their history before they enter school because it helps you develop a sense of pride. But I saw that in many cases when kids are leaving and adults don't know our history, and it's so rich, there's nothing you can touch that has not been impacted by an African American, but it doesn't show through us as Black people and through other ethnic group. We created things like the lights, the gas masks, the color computer, just things that's used all over the world. So why isn't it? It began to concern me. Why aren't we really embracing these things? Why aren't we really talking about the great things? Why are we talking about Daniel Boone opposed to George Washington Carver that has over 100 patents? Why aren't we, and so I didn't see the history um, for African American included in the history. When you do history include everything. That's why it's called history. And so, but we weren't threaded. So then our kids go and you see them disenchanted, probably between second and third grade. You got to be able to, when you're teaching, when you're educating someone, you got to be able to see yourself threaded through something, have some type of relationship with it. And so it was important to me. I have 6 kids, and I've been, reading Afrocentric things for a very long time. But you stay focused on your kids, but this is important, not just for your kids, but for all kids and all parents.
I love that, being able to see an image of oneself,
Mm-hmm.
which is so inspiring, motivating, and encouraging. And it gives you, as a child, it allows you to see that I can be great too, or I can
Right.
accomplish this also. So I love that. So now I want to share this story because me and you were talking, right? And you said to me, and it did not click. So for all of you that are watching, the genius part of what she's done with this book, she put it in the form of a children's book. But I have learned so much from this book. So, and you as an adult, I'm quite sure you will learn from it also. So me and Teresa was talking one day, and the one thing she said before we hung up was, so I guess you're on that phone that, one of our black techs created. And also you're probably going to use your GPS to get to where you need to go, that
Yes.
another one of our black techs created. So these are some of the stories that you share, just giving a profile of who some of the black techs are, from that are, I mean, we're using their creations every single
Every single
day,
day.
but we don't know there's someone that looked like us that created it.
Well, that's the reason why when I've done these lectures, I encourage the kids and the teachers to start calling the device by the owner's name.
I love
That
that.
way, when you send it at the elevator, you could say Alexander Miles automatic elevator door opener. It's a mouthful. Or you
Yeah,
could say Jesse Russell. I'm getting ready to use my Jesse Russell. So you can really start identifying with who these people are. When you go to get that ice cream, you could say, and there's several people that have created the modified the refrigeration, but you could say Frederick Jones. When you're using Zoom, you could say um, Crop. You could continue to say these people name until it become natural for you, until we are able to identify in a way that, and embracing that. So you see math, reading, science, and all those things become, I think, easier. Haven't proved this yet. Become easier because you've embraced your people being able to identify with things.
absolutely. So let's share. I want to just give a sneak preview because, like I said, we're pre selling this book right now. And I want people to be able to get their advanced copy of Black Tech Leaders in Technology, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I want them to be able to get that. And we'll make the link available to them so they can make sure they get their copy, right? So, one of the inventors, and you just said it, Jesse Russell.
Hmm.
So, I always say, did you know things you use every day was invented by us?
Yeah.
Jesse Russell. For those out there, we're going to give you a lesson. We're going to give you a quick tip in knowing. Jesse Russell created, tell him, Miss Watson, what Jesse Russell created.
That cell phone that you use every day.
Every
Now,
day.
and so it doesn't show up on the analog size. And people that are my age or older, anybody past 40 probably use an analog phone. Right now, we're using a digital phone, which is created by Jesse Russell. It does, and so when you're looking at him, he's in New Jersey, he's still living, um, and when you're looking at that cell phone and you're thinking, we don't think about the fact that we have created some valuable things that's used throughout the entire world. And so
Absolutely.
that's this, and it's such an amazing man. They um, went to Tennessee State, which I want to say I like to hallelujah to the HBCUs. Um,
Yes.
yes. And so he went on to do research in this field, in the engineering, electrical engineering field. And so, you see how his progression, if you follow um, Jesse Russell, you see his progression to the point that he actually ended up creating this the digital cell phone. And so that, to me, I want to just elaborate a little bit on the fact that, see, when you see something that needs to be repaired or fixed, um, that's showing, it need to be modified, it need to be changed or something like that. So what you can do is to go on and improve it, and that's what he did. Analog, I can't go into details, but analog had a lot of problems,
Yes.
lots of problems, and the cell phone bills could be $900 a month. So I mean, it could be very expensive. Is my point. And so this is like a really blessing to all the people that use cell phone. In fact, the digital cell phone has impacted the landline to the point that some people have never even used a landline.
It was a great disruptor.
Yes, it was. And I want to say another reason that I packed a book like this is that to give the kids enough information for them to be able to do more research than just Martin Luther King or Jesse Jackson or Rosa Parks, and they can do a deep dive into Jesse Russell or any of the other inventors in the book.
Well, let's share a few more. So, the one thing that I think really stood out to me when we were talking, and you just casually said something like I said, I wasn't even thinking about it, but we can't live without these mobile devices. And right now, they've advanced these mobile devices to the point I can run my business from it, you know?
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
so Jesse Eugene Russell. So look him up. But better
Yes.
yet, just order your copy of the book. Okay. So the next one. So as I'm traveling, I'm always traveling and um I didn't know. I'm gonna be honest. So once again, you packaged it as a children's book for grades 1 through 3, right? First through the
Mm-hmm.
third grade. But I'm smart. I think I'm smart. But I definitely have my copy of the book since I'm publishing the book because I have learned some significant things about this book, like the GPS and who created that. Someone that looked like us. So let's
Mm-hmm.
talk about the GPS.
Well, Gladys West, this is amazing. Um, Created the GPS, and she has a lot of her mathematical skills are off the chain. Um, and so it was easy for her, not easy. It was interesting for her to um, to transform into this space. And so the one thing is that GPS takes you everywhere you want to go, whether you're
Yes,
walking, whether you the airplane use GPS.
that's
And
right.
so it's just, and when I was in France and our bus driver used GPS,
That's right.
the taxi cabs. And so everybody is using it, and it's just amazing that what she have done with this. And you can look and research and see how she came about formulating the GPS and why it was so important to her. And so sometimes I want to just give the kids a little bit more anecdotal information about the character, but I also want them themselves to
Yes.
go and look it up, because you can look this up in second and third grade. I was at in New Jersey, and the teachers had the students look up the inventors before I got there, so they would know more than just what was in the book, but
Good.
how they came to be.
That is so
And that's
good.
what that is what one of the major things that I really want the book, because I want us to develop our critical thinking skills, which we used to have them. You know, this is how this stuff get created, because you're a critical thinker, and we have to have that back in the back where we were.
Hmm. Teresa, it's really good because you're right. You don't want to give everything. You want them to take ownership of their learning, their education, and you want them to be able to find the significance and importance in knowing how did it become. Because even with that, I am so huge on storytelling. And that's what really sparked my publishing company, as well as the podcast, because I'm
Uh-huh.
intrigued by people's stories, and you want to know because you never know how it may line up with your story or just what you can learn from their story that can impact your own journey. So, and for all those out there that are that's graduated or that's attending an HBCU, you would also like to know that she attended Virginia State University.
Yes, she did. That's
That's
another
right, in
HBCU.
Gettysburg,
I want to
Virginia.
show you the greatness that the HBCUs are producing.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes. And I know you are a huge advocate for HBCUs. And
yes,
so, really pushing that agenda and letting them see the power of what has been birthed out of HBCUs as well. These great inventors.
great
So,
schools.
now we're going to give you all some more little sneak peek, but I also want to tell you that right now, um, we talked about the GPS. But if you're traveling, you may have to stop at a traffic light. So let's talk about the inventor of the traffic light that looks like us.
Well, Garrett Morgan, he's an awesome, awesome man. And because Garrett Morgan has several inventions, he created the traffic light. And in DC, in DC, he was trying to get order to the formulation of traffic, the flow of traffic, and to make sure that it develops some type of cohesiveness so that everybody can benefit from it. And so, just his thinking, he was always inventing. He invented the traffic light. I don't care where you go on the planet, unless you're going to, I don't know, some isolated place. Liberia, not Liberia. What is it? They where it snows all the time and they don't have traffic lights.
That's true.
Some remote place in Alaska.
Yes,
I've been to
yes.
some remote places in Alaska, and they have no traffic light. In fact, one building is a whole building, is a whole town. Been to those places, and so one of the things I would say is that when you're looking at what we have done, not and I talk about America, because this is where we need to really impact and show some things. But these things are things that we use all over the world. That GPS, you can go in France. The kids are holding their phone just like the American kids. You could go to China. They're holding that. I mean, they get in direction from their GPS just like we do. And so, who created it? An African American woman. Who
Absolutely.
created that traffic light that they using in Russia? A black
Yes,
man. And so
absolutely.
why aren't we getting that recognition? Because it's important that we as African Americans toot our own horn. But
Absolutely.
we allow other people to, we go in and we toot other people horn. I don't even remember what I learned about Daniel Boone, but I know I had to learn about Daniel Boone from first grade to fifth grade. That's, I mean, something,
Yes.
profound. A Lincoln, a Washington, a Hoover. We learned all the presidents. And so when I got to, when I was in first grade, I would just tell you a brief story. I was in first grade, in second grade. We did social studies. And in the traditional social study books, we did not see any depiction of Black people. And so I went to all Black school. And one of the things that the teachers did is that they went out and got books about Africa. It was the first time people tell you, oh, they savages, they this, they that. It was the first time I actually saw Africa as a
Wow.
thriving city, a city with buildings, a city with bathrooms, a city that with an economy. Um, and so this changed my whole perception or idea of blackness. So as we began to integrate, I was in seventh grade when we yeah, seventh or eighth grade,
Mhm.
because we middle school, we call it junior high, was seventh, eighth, and ninth grade. So I probably was in eighth. We had this teacher, Mr. Edmonds, uh, Epson. So he showed us on the map the traditional pull down map of what we're supposed to see, but he also showed us a map of the real Africa and its size. And so when you see Africa on most school maps, on their on most schools globe, Africa is small, but you have 5 or 6 countries that could sit inside of Africa. That's how big it is. But we won't ever know that because anything we've allowed this world to create things, if it's black, create it in a smaller frame. And so we have to get past that, where we start tuning our own horn, start sending our kids to school prepared and
Yes.
knowing what they're doing, what they should, what they need to know to develop when they walk across that threshold of school. They have a sense of pride going with them because you have already introduced them to some things.
It is so important, and I just want to reiterate it that yes, this book is packaged for children, but it is so important that the parents get involved
Yes.
because I understand just speaking with you right now and really feeling your passion. I understand why this is so near and dear to your heart and why it is a labor of love to really be able to communicate these messages. And And you know what? The more we talked, you shared with me Black Tech is the first of a series of about 15 to 20 other books to
Yes.
really be able to help educate our youth. And you know what? Just our culture, our people in general is, and you know what's interesting is pretty much keeping it away from us. Can you imagine? Well, you can imagine because that's why you're doing this. Being able to get to the young minds, these young children that one day will be adults, and if they are equipped with the information, what this world could look like, just by them being open with knowledge, embracing knowledge, insight, and also being able to be inspired to tap into their own vision, their own purpose, their own creative energy. So I see and I feel your passion for this message, really conveying this message to the masses. So I want to let me, if we can, because I know we're talking about Black tech, and I don't want to give anymore because I think we've given them enough to let them know every time they think about answering a phone call, every time they think about driving in town and having to stop at a traffic light or driving anywhere locally or long distance, they have to use their GPS. I think we've given them enough information to say, you know what, I'm intrigued and I want to know more. So let me first start by ordering a book, right? And they can definitely order a book. We're running, like I said, a pre-sale campaign through our through the publishing company. The book will be available for the pre-sale campaign will run, and the book will be available for global release on November 12th, right after the election. So we want to make sure everyone gets a chance to get their copy in advance. So you can order that from HOVPUB.com/black hyphen tech. Okay. So with that, let's just tell them a little bit about what other books are to come. Now, we're not going to give them all of them because they can go, and like you said, you got to go look up some stuff to get more insight.
Yes,
But
I want them to do that because it also improves their writing, it
yes,
improves their research skills, it improves their critical thinking skills, and so it's just enough to start giving us back our solid foundation.
I love it. I love it. So some of the other ones that you're working on, the next one is Blacks in STEM.
Yes,
Give
that's
us a
black
little
to STEM.
insight. Give us a little insight on that.
Well, one of the people that's really amazing to me is Mark Dean. Mark Dean created the color monitor as we know it today. We have in there in the Patricia Bath. Um, we have Jameson, the astronaut, and so it's just we have been doing STEM and technology for many years. And the reason why, one of the things that you will see in the book is that I brought people in from long ago to show you that STEM didn't start in the 70s, the 60s, I mean, the 70s and the 80s. So we have people, the, I can take my glasses off because this is what she have created. And so one of the things is that, you know, a lot of people have cataracts or they have really real
Mhm.
problems. And so when you're taking a look at the machinery, when you go in and you put your head down into the and to for them to read and take a look in your eyes, that was created by a black woman. And
Wow.
so it's not just it's not the STEM, and the reason why I wanted STEM, because we have a big focus on STEM right now, and STEM requires you to be critical thinkers because things were not quite, I don't want to give the story away when you do the research, but things were not quite working well as it did, trying to determine what exactly is going on with these eyes here. And so as she continued to do research, this is how she came up with being able to determine that this would be a good project for her to work on. And so it's
Mhm.
just, and Mark Dean had a staff, and they're trying to say, back in my day when computers came out and became home computers, it was black and white computers.
Mhm.
Now, can you imagine that? No, this generation cannot imagine a black and white computer. So it's been a really interesting journey to be able to connect stems. And I do have like George Washington Carver, just to show some of
Mhm.
the things that people um, have done in STEM.
Mhm.
And then I have the ones that are very current. I do have Kizzy that created the uh, Moderna drug for COVID. And so, and she's very young. She's like 37. So it shows you the different people in a different way. And I want the thing about it is I really want kids to embrace not just the idea of of these STEM people. I want them to think about how do they get there? What were they
Absolutely.
doing when they decided to create this? What was Mark what did Mark Dean say? You know, can we look? I want you have on a blue jacket. Why can't I see that as a blue jacket? What do I have to do? And
Hmm.
so he did research to find out how do the CBS NBC show colors. And so the
Well,
book is really exciting. I'm excited about that book, and it also do the same thing the rest of all my books will do, where it will highlight the education in three different ways. The first one is HBCUs,
yes.
and it's important for you to know the great things that come out of HBCUs, so you can also have develop a sense of pride. Because there are people that actually, at one point, tried to get rid of the HBCU, said they really don't have any value since we are so integrated right now. The second thing is I wanted to showcase the fact that there are plenty of people that did not go to college, but they are self-taught engineers, self-taught mechanical engineers. They and they're self-taught. Now, one of the people, the home security system that we use now, even though Van Britton Brown did go to college, she didn't when she started creating this.
Hmm.
She this I don't think she was finished college, but my point is she saw a need and she tried to implement that and create something. So this is what I want each one of my books to be able to do.
That's encouraging. That is encouraging. So when you think about all those that may be challenged, they're full of ideas, vision, and a lot of times people don't know the how, so they get discouraged or they don't have someone to help foster that and help cultivate that's on the inside for them to
Mhm.
become who they're purposed to be. So, and the great thing, Theresa, and we're going to go into this also because you've set up an academy to really be able to engage the community. And I don't want to say just young minds, but the
Oh no.
community in general
Right.
to really be able to connect and get insight and know where to find resources, but really to just help us to understand how powerful we are as a people, how creative we are as a people,
That is
so
very true.
I always say, don't believe the lies because we are brilliant. And we, as, like I say, as Black people, we know how to take something, make something from nothing. We do.
That's been
And
a track record.
it is, it is. But before we end that piece on Black and STEM, for those that don't know what STEM stands for, just share that with them.
Science, technology, engineering, and math.
So that is the acronym. But
STEM.
a lot of people, you'd be surprised, they don't know what it means. So, but
Well,
don't worry, they can get the book.
and more recently, they have added an A onto STEM, which are the arts.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because, as individuals or people that are even engaging in this interview or this conversation, let's say conversation, because we want to bring you all into it. You may find yourself being more arts driven, more creative in the music or the writing or
Hmm.
creative, with imagery and design and stuff. So it's not just all tech and mathematics. And I got to be honest, I love math, but I'm not, listen, when it comes to math, my mind is a creative mind that know how to put things together, but math is a beast in itself. So
Well,
I respect those that have that gift and love those and love numbers, and just I respect them because listen, we use a lot of what they've created and I'm grateful. So let's talk about real quick. I want to get into um just the initiative. So out of your passion, you have created this, I want to say this universe to be able to bring people into, and it's not like it's anything that's new. I always say there's nothing new under the sun, but you can definitely repackage it and repurpose it,
right,
and
right.
make it greater. And you talk about that even with some of the inventors in Black tech,
Mhm.
enhancing. So, but you just have a heart that you wanted to be able to engage and build a community where people can tap in to be a part of it. They can learn from it, they can add to it, they can share within this community. But I want to talk about some of the initiatives and how you're utilizing your Black tech book and those that will follow. And one of your initiatives called Lead and Read.
Yes. That is a, I love that. I love Lead and Read because it brings in the African American community, African American church is what it brings in. And the members of the African American church will get a student, an African American student between the ages of 4 and 19. And that student will call them once a week and read to them for 10 minutes. And this is going to help in many, many ways. It's going to help the kids in school. The goal is to help them develop a love for reading. You don't have to say, did you read at least one page today? Because it has, it's also, it's going to reconnect, it's going to connect the community and the child. So you have a genuine interest in the survival of our kids and the quality of education. We as African American need to be more involved in the quality of education for our students.
Yes.
And so when I tell this story, there's been many, many times I've gone to various school board meetings and you don't hear the word parent in the meeting. That should be a like a really that should be an indicator for you because the real governing body of this school of education is the parent.
Starts at
It's
home.
the parent,
Mm-hmm.
are the parents. And so Lead and Read is going to take on the idea of helping you create critical thinking. It's going to help you create um, a sense of belonging. It's going to help you develop some pride. It's going to give you power that it's not often given in school. You can actually go through school and than Black History Month and you're learning about the traditional people and not ever learn about George Washington Carver, Paul Laurence Dunbar, um, W.E.D. Du Bois. Um, you can go through school and never learn about um, Gladys West. And so these are really, really crucial. It's real crucial that we just don't continue to learn about other people. And then it should tell you, I want to show you one critical thinking
Mm-hmm.
component.
Okay.
When I grew up, it was just pounded on us that Christopher Columbus discovered America. Okay,
Mhm.
so I
Yes.
was in my twenties before I learned. I'll probably almost 30 before I learned that Christopher Columbus did not discover America. But if I had a strong enough critical thinking skills, listen to what they would have done. You also read in the same book that Christopher Columbus did not, he stopped in the islands,
Yeah.
you know. And so if you're stopping in Nevis, because they got a lot of things about Christopher Columbus, Jamaica, uh, one of those, and never came to America, how did you discover America? Then my first
Absolutely.
thought is that one of the things that I should, when they said that he discovered America, well, how do you discover something where people are
Yep.
already there?
That's
And
right.
so critical thinking, the power of critical thinking allows you to go into those spaces, and that's what kids should have. They should be able to question, how is this possible? How is that possible? And so those are the things that we're not getting in our current setting. And so when you see Africa, I don't know the population back in the day, but I'm gonna use small numbers just for, if you see
Mm-hmm.
Africa, and Africa has 10 million people, but England has um 500,000. Greece Greece has 500,000. Germany has a million, and but yet and still you see that this here it is that Africa has 100 million. So how do these 100 million people get in this little tiny space? Critical thinking. Is there
Absolutely.
something going on there? And so our kids will be able to do that when we, as African American, take ownership of our learning. And that's why the church is so important, because the church has a track record. Civil rights movement at the volume that it was done by the church. It was done
Mm-hmm.
by the church, because there were other people trying to move civil rights, and you get a little bit here and a little bit there. It just didn't have the traction. But the church has a responsibility of its community and building this community. So that's one of the reasons why I've used the church in this program in Lead and Read, and I've used the church uh, to help our community grow and to improve and develop. And the church was also used because kids, a lot of times, the first thing you learn to do is speak in public. Was done through a church. When you enter competitions, it was done through a church.
That's true.
In fact, in the day when a lot of our people were going to prison going to jail for frivolous things. And so when they got out, they didn't have the skills, and people weren't giving people jobs that have been incarcerated. And so what the church did, they found the jobs for them. They help you from an economic point, and they help you from finance, understanding finance. And so the church used to do all these things. They help you write your essay. They sponsor you when you were in college. These are the things the has a proven track record. So revamping our education system, it will be done through the African American church. The impact and the growth of the African American people in education will be done through the African American church.
So it sounds as though for anyone that um, is a leader of a church, this is an opportunity. If there's any members out there and you see that your church is a church that fits the criterias of just being able to become mentors for the Lead and Read program, then Theresa, you have a way for them to be able to partner with you and be a part of the Lead and Read initiative, right?
Yes, and in fact, I'm very proud of this program because, Synergy is my nonprofit. Our nonprofit is synergytrainingsolutions.org. But one of the
Mhm.
things, and you click on Lead and Read, but one of the things that it does is that the church, when they join, everybody's issued an ID number. But every quarter, you get a report about how things are going. So you can see the growth and improvement in our children.
With Lead and Read, pretty much right now, there's like open enrollment for Lead and Read. And so, for anyone that's interested in being a part, right now, open enrollment from September through December, because we're launching Lead and Read the first quarter, right? Lead and Read.
Right. We're launching in the
Mm-hmm.
first quarter, and we're excited about that open enrollment. And you go on, the applications are online. You complete the application, it's sent in to us, and then you'll be issued an ID number, and that goes for your mentors, your volunteers at church, as well as the student. Um, so that's there. That's
So
available
the
to you.
church is enrolling.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Yes.
church is partnering with Synergy Training Solutions
Yes.
um, for this initiative, Lead and Read. And once again, the website is
Synergytrainingsolutions.org.
synergytrainingsolutions.org. Okay. And this, just click the tab that says Lead and Read, and they can go ahead and become an actual partner with you. the church
Yes.
itself, and then the church can recruit the mentors within the church.
And the reason why we have done it like that, because the church know their members. They know their
Yes.
members. And it's important that the right members actually become volunteers. And so the other thing that I do have gotten several phone calls about is other organizations becoming. This is only done for, it's formatted like this, and it can operate through your church. And other organizations that want to help, we do other training, which, well, Jermaine would lead into that. That's all part of the academy,
Okay.
other training.
So
So if they wanted to make a contribution, so to help to further educational workshops for parents and students and community, that's a way that other organization can help. But right now, it is important that African American take ownership of the kids, of African American kids' education. That is,
so I no, I get it clearly. So it's literally going back to the foundation of the Black church,
yes.
being those to be able to help empower our children. And then also, you're looking at partnering with schools. So where does, not where does the children come from, but the young people, the young mentees, how are you going about recruiting the mentees for the Lead and Read program?
Well, one of the things is we have a volunteer package that suggests methods and techniques for obtaining kids. And most of the people, even though you don't have any kids, you know kids in the community. You know kids, you run into kids and the students in the library, in the grocery store, in through your friends. Um, we will send information out to schools, and they can. Some schools will use it. If I'm in Florida, chances are you probably will not be using it. But um, you have to become really critical thinkers on how you will actually obtain the kids, because our kids, in when they go into school, and you can use when they're going to school, one of the things is you want to get them as early as you possibly can.
Yes.
Now, we'll tell you the strength of the program. We do have some people that are currently using it, the program. And one of the things that
Okay.
you'll
Mhm.
see a child, we have a child in 10th grade reading at a third grade level, second and third grade level. And one of the things that he likes is that everything is done over the phone. The student actually called the mentor once a week and read to them for 10 minutes. Well, this student is really more than happy. They have chosen their book, and we're building out our library. So in the meantime, they use their own suggestion of their book. But he's chosen a second and third grade book, and
Mhm.
he reads from that. Even though he's in 10th grade, well, 11th grade now, his his um his reading skill is at that level. But because he doesn't see the person, he's only reading them over the phone. As he progressed, then he's began to feel better. He would tell you how good he feels now that he's reading at third grade level. Even though he's in 11th grade now. And so this is another thing, is we have these deficiencies in our kids, and instead of trying to solve these problems, many districts have taken the opportunity to find methods and techniques that you can graduate high school with. Well,
Mhm.
school was never designed just to see you channel through it. And but
Mhm.
it was, as it says, you have to be a productive citizen. And so if you ill prepared to be a productive citizen, it becomes challenging. If you can't read, it becomes challenging. If you can't do basic math, life becomes challenging for you. If somebody have never asked you about your passion in school, life becomes challenging. You don't know that. Even some people don't even know, I mean, what is my passion? What do I enjoy doing?
Absolutely. Exactly. And then, then you'll end up discovering what your purpose is.
Yes.
Everyone has a purpose in life,
And so
but
that's true.
it has to be nurtured. It has to be, but you know what? Making the systems available, it is up to the individual. And if you're a child, it's up to the parents to really see the value. You never know if you have the next Black tech that you're raising, the next Black president of the United States that you're raising, unless you invest. And that's the one thing that really drew me to you as well, because you stated you had 6 children, but you poured into your children. And today can stand and be so proud, even if you felt the odds were against them, just to be able to see your investment in your children taking time. It wasn't easy,
No,
but you
not
saw the value in raising Black children.
yeah.
So that was, yes, inspiring. That's another book and a story in itself. Just
I must say, 4 of my 6 kids went to Hampton, and that is really important to me. It's really important. In fact, I was just thinking about it here. The oldest didn't go to Hampton, and the youngest didn't go to Hampton, but everybody sandwiched in between went to Hampton, and absolutely loved it and have great success in their life.
yes,
So I'm really pleased about that.
definitely. So I'm not going to hold you much longer, but we could sit and talk for hours.
That is actually very true.
Yeah.
Uh, but I do want to say that one of the things that comes out of the academy, is that I do love doing parenting classes.
That
Um,
was the next thing.
yeah,
Absolutely.
I do.
Why
I
you
do
talk
love
about
doing
that?
parenting classes because you should be able to convey. Parenting is very, very difficult,
Mhm.
and sometimes it makes things happen in life, and you being able to say what direction you're going to go in. I love developing strategies, teaching parents how to advocate in a way that they're heard, having to advocate for their children. And one of the other things is bringing awareness about African Americans and the great things that they have done, not just to African American, but to the massive, to the other ethnic groups. Because sometimes I would say that I was a friend with a lady from the Philippines that happened to be married to a black woman. I mean, a black
Mhm.
man, and so she was saying she had not been home in 10 years, and I'm like, you haven't been home in 10 years, and in my mind, I really felt like they probably could afford it, but it had to be some of the reason. But then as we became closer, she said to me that she married a black man, and her family told her, don't. Now, this is the Philippines. It's not a rich country, but even the poor people are messages sent not to marry somebody black,
Wow.
and for various reasons. So she had been ostracized from the family for 10 years, and she had 8-year-old and a 7-year-old, and they had never seen the baby or spoken to the baby because she was married to a black man. And so I but if we had tooted our own horn, you would see the greatness in black
Absolutely.
people. You would see the greatness. You would not believe that England and Germany created all these resources and things that's here on earth today. Africa is the greatest resource country there is on the planet.
Yes.
And the it's not that they can't manage it, is that they have an approach that lends itself, generally, this is Teresa's opinion, by the way. So it lends itself to people accepting, like they've been over nice and stuff, and things are happening before they realize, I've allowed this to happen. And so you got to now unpack what you allowed to transpire. And so
Absolutely.
that's where we are right now. And so I wanted to be able to say that there's a lot of things that we're doing and in the academy that will benefit the parents, the child, the community as a whole. I'm looking forward to the community engagement and impacting the economic processes that we currently have right now. There's a lot of them are not working for us. We should not be living the quality of life that we have with all the resources and that we
That's
have.
right.
We're $1 trillion industry in the black, more than $1 trillion industry in the black community, but it doesn't reflect in our community. But we have to take even ownership of that.
Absolutely. we have to, one, understand our power,
Yeah.
understand who we are as a people,
Mm-hmm.
to know the power that we possess. And if we do our research and go back, we will see that a lot, it's not like Black inventors just popped up, you know, it is in our DNA that we have been able to create, invent for years. We may not have gotten a credit for it, but a lot of those inventors, you'll see us standing side by side with a lot of
That
those
puts me
inventors.
that's the way I feel about Lewis Latimer, and as an apprentice with Alexander Graham Bell. You know, I just see so many of the African Americans that have invented things but couldn't get credit for it because they
Absolutely.
were Black. And one
Absolutely.
of the days after I finish writing the books that I am, I will focus on that because
Good.
it's really sad to see some of the things that we were not given credit for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, as a people, understand really who we are. Take the initiative to find out more. Do not let people dictate to you who you are, what you
Yeah.
stand for, because we are so rich in our history. We are so rich in what we've created. And the thing is, we need to be rich in our pockets.
And we're actually very rich in our pocket. It's the disposable, it's the income. I want to say this last thing. Um, African American money stays in their community 6 hours.
Talk about it.
6 hours. And so other community, I want you to think about the picture. When you have other stores, other ethnic group in your community, what happens is that you go and spend your money in that corner store that's not run by interview in your community. And now when you, at the end of the month, at the end of the week, they take that money to their community.
Absolutely.
Anytime you do that, it weakens your community because now you don't have any resources to stay within your community. So some of the people that are staying there, you got to make sure that things are, you know, the stores, people complain about various things and when we own the stores, but those same things happen when other people own those stores as well. But um, we don't tend to say a whole lot about it.
Yes.
But we got to take a look at owning something, being manufacturing something, so that we will have an industry, and we don't have one right now.
That's
You know.
absolutely, absolutely. And I am proud to say that I am a Black owned business as a book publisher for 17 years, sharing the stories of our people. And over 500 plus books later, I am grateful to authors like yourself that have partnered with my company. And the one thing I'm a firm believer is that it's your intellectual property, you own it. I am not in the
Yeah.
business, you know, to take what is rightfully someone else's, but it is the vision and it is my assignment to help get your stories into the marketplace. And so, Theresa, it is such a pleasure and an honor to be able to work with you, to help birth your vision out with you so that the masses can engage and be educated and also see the power that they possess. So, we got some work to do, but let's make it happen.
Yeah, yeah, I'm following behind you. I don't always be a good listener, but I get on board.
You absolutely do. And the thing is, it's because you're passionate. And, and the one thing I love, what you may not understand, you're open to listen and to learn. And
Yeah.
together, we'll learn together. I'm learning from you, you're learning from me. And actually, in a minute, the world will be able to learn, what
Oh
you are
yeah.
offering, to be able to engage and to really encourage parents that are raising African American children. There are resources out there, there are systems out there that you don't have to feel like you're alone figuring it out. And if you don't know, you don't do anything. But there are the Theresa Merritt-Watsons in the world that want to empower and educate you along with your children. But all you have to do is really engage, make the first step,
Yes.
you know, and being able to package this book and make it available. She's not doing this just for the sake of doing it. And for her, it's definitely not about how much she's going to make from it, because her whole mission, as you heard today in this interview, is to really help give back, help to give to our young people, to let them know they too have a chance and an opportunity to
Yes.
become whatever they so desire to become. But not just the children. She has something even for the parents. So together as a family, you can do this. You can take this journey. You can join her community. And once again, Theresa, I want you to be able to share how they can connect with you, to be able to start doing research, finding out more. And I want to say, if they're interested in just dropping you a message, an email, they can do that from your website, or you want to give
Yes,
them
they
an
can do it
email.
from the website.
If they're interested in joining your community, they should just really go to the website. If you can give that to them again.
It's Synergy Training Solutions.org. And you can click on lead and read, or
Hmm.
you can just do backslash lead and read.
Okay.
And
Hmm.
and
But they
so
can connect with you there to send you an email
yeah,
saying,
they can send me an
I'm
email.
interested in joining the community. I want to
Yes,
find out more.
yes,
So,
they could send me an email. And one of the I think we're going to talk about the packaging of other some of the other merchandise.
yes. So, one thing they can do, so on the website right now for the pre sale campaign to get
Yes.
your copy of this book, you can go to Synergy Training solutions.org. We'll make a button available there that will take you to the website, or you can go straight to the publisher website, hovpub.com/black hyphen tech. And you can pre order your copy of the book. And also, Theresa is releasing a line of merchandising. So you can get a black tech t-shirt for your child with the inventors on it from the book. You can also get Cairo. Cairo is, you can find out more, but Cairo is I love Cairo because Cairo is someone that can relate on the age level of your child, that's going to walk you through the journey of Black tech and the inventors and really engage with the community.
Hmm.
So there will be some videos also there so you can meet Cairo for yourself. And we have a Cairo doll, so you can have your own personal Cairo doll. And so that you can get also from, you can pre-order it now from the website, and get your gifts in time for the holiday season. So we are so excited about that. Theresa, is there anything else you want to say, you want to leave with the audience?
Well, I do want to leave with the audience the idea and notion that we are responsible for our economic and our educational processes for our children and the development. And I could go on to the other things like health care. We're also responsible for that, and how we eat and what we feed our kids. And but they focus on things pertaining to African Americans and
Hmm.
education and economics. And so if you lead and read, learning about your history, but you can't just, I do want to say this because I've been doing some work in this area. You can't just want to learn about your history, say, I'm going to just teach about Black history, because there's other components that you need to relate to. You still need to be able to learn math and embrace it to a point where you can develop critical thinking and reading and science and all these other subjects. But what you want to do is, because you have embrace some of the things and understanding the greatness within our community, these things help you to grow and expound on the different other components of life. We do
Yes.
not want our kids to continue to graduate from high school and not have the necessary skills to be able to work and function as a human, as a productive human being, because everybody's a human being. Yeah,
Absolutely.
but a productive one, being able to care for yourself, care for your family, care for your community, and being able to do these things. So we do have a large population that's not fulfilling their purpose. And
Yes.
I would say that um, my husband is deceased, so sometimes when you go out to the cemetery, you look
Mhm.
at these young kids that that have died, and you often wonder, you know, my town is small, so you know a lot of the kids that are there, and you see on television kids that are dying or doing the wrong thing. You know, who's going to say, who's going to help us through the process of learning what our passion is, how to pursue it, and what our purpose is?
Yes.
Who's going to do that? That's coming through the African American church. It's coming through our community, because
Yes.
we have, for years, we have allowed, we have entered into other people's spaces to teach us, and it has not worked
Worked.
out to our advantage. However, it has been several schools that have done very well. Granted, it was before integration, except for Margaret
Mhm.
Collin is doing integration, and she did a marvelous thing,
Mhm.
and several other schools. But with all intent and purpose, we were we were highly educated. You see people in their hundreds, and 100 years old. They went to college, and they have done great things. As you see, Frederick Jones, you don't have to go to college, but they
Yes.
did great things because they critical thinking skill. And I'm gonna leave you with this: Frederick Jones. One of his major problems when he was delivering medicine is that it got so hot that the medicine went bad, and so he devised a refrigerator truck that keep the medicine warm. I mean, keep the medicine cool. Now, see, there was a problem, and he wanted to fix the problem, and that's what I'm saying to the kids. There's things out there, and you want to improve it, do
Yes.
it. Just do it.
Yes. I'm going to piggyback in this close and say I am a firm believer if you become a problem solver, your finances can always flow if you begin to solve people's problems. And that
Yes,
can be on any level. So, Theresa, with that, once again, I thank you so much. One, for being the newest HOV publishing author, and two, for just really being able to come on the podcast and share your story. Thank you. And our job is to really get your message out there so
thank you,
others can really connect with you and really see the value in your message and your vision and your purpose that can also help benefit them. Once again, we thank you so much for tuning in to Hope of Vision Connect podcast. We are on podcast platforms everywhere and we're on YouTube. So please make sure you subscribe and leave us a message. Let us know that you enjoyed this conversation, and we'll have all the information for our guest, Theresa Merritt-Watson, in the comment section so you can leave her a message. And once again, if you're interested in joining her community, we want to make sure that you go to her website, or even if you connect with us, we'll make sure we get it to her. So we want everyone to be a part of it, because if you have a child or if you know someone with children, they too can benefit from what she's offering. So stay tuned to our next episode. And in the meantime, make sure you click the link so you can go ahead and purchase her book in advance, and it will be made available for global distribution on November 12th, 2024. We'll talk soon. Have a great day. Bye bye now.